Now, let me just go
Thank you,
straight.
Joma, for having me.
You're welcome. Let me go straight into asking you just what you make about the former president's letter and whether you agree with him that we appear to be approaching a precipice in his words.
Well, that we're in a precarious situation needs no explanation. This gamut of security challenges in the country today needs no overemphasis, ranging from insurgency, militancy, and banditry, of course, which includes kidnapping, cattle rustling, armed robbery, and all sorts of. So I think my take here is that he's calling for a conversation, that first of all, we must agree that there is crisis, and that, the government, the president should show leadership, and for everybody to join the president, to tackle this menace. So I think it's a call for everybody to put their hands together and see how, we can address, this stable that is causing crisis in this country.
Well, when you look at the security situation, it's not just one problem. It's multidimensional, as some people would say. Even starting with the South, for instance, we're seeing more attacks on targets that we didn't used to see before. What sort of approach do you think the government should take to tackle it?
First and foremost, I think as a matter of urgency, we must now start to look at the causes of this problem rather than the symptoms. The proliferation of small and light weapons in this country has gone to, unfrightening dimension. So the government must, as a matter of fact, now set up a national commission that will work with the national community to see how we can rout this menace of proliferation of small and light weapons. And two, we should not be reactive in approach. We must be proactive. I mean, there are sort of early warning signals. There are a lot of intelligence gathering that will show that this is what is going on. For instance, in the Southwest you're talking about, there have been a lot of feelers, like told in the boiling water, that these kind of things are getting out of hand. But what do? We don't have to wait for the child of a prominent Nigerian to be killed. All lives matter. People are being killed every day. So we must make a conscious effort to see how we can nip it at the bud.
Yes, but the question is what to do differently. I mean, we know there's been some sort of approach in the Northeast. It's a different situation in the Northwest, totally, with all the banditry. If you were in their shoes, seeing as you have experience in these kinds of things, what is the first thing that should be done differently so that we're not here in another 3 months talking about the same problems?
What we should do now is for the state government, to come out openly and assist the federal government, by giving them, contributing a lot of money for them to fight this scourge. You don't fight it with empty hands. These policemen and the security agencies, they need weapons. They need to be well trained. They need, a lot of, support from the state, local government, and the federal level. So what we are doing now, what we need to do is to actually come to the table to identify who these people are. You must know your enemy. If you don't know your enemy, we're just running around. And that is why you see the crisis in conceptual definitions of, is it herdsmen, are they Fulani herdsmen, are they farmers, are they rustlers, and all that. So what we should do now is to come straight to the table and identify that there is a problem in our hands. Who are these enemies? And come together to put resources together, train the people that are going to attack these people. If we need help from international community, this is the time to ask for help. There is no shame in it. When it's becoming out of hand, call for any sort of support from anywhere and get it sorted out.
Okay, let me ask you this other question. Sometimes when you see the kind of cache or haul of weapons, they're not small arms, they're not light weapons as we hear. These are sophisticated looking weapons. Do you think maybe policing at the state level, for instance, could somehow stop these kind of weapons from moving from one state to the other and causing problems? What do you think?
There are small arms and light weapons. The description is not by the sizes, the lesser effect. So just that is the paradox of looking at it as small arms and light weapons and the heavy casualty they inflict on people. State police, fine, but there are complexities surrounding the establishment of state police. For a country like ours, where we read minutes to different things, when we politicize security issues. But I would suggest that we have what they call community policing at the first instance. Community policing involves some state governments are already doing it, bringing some vigilante groups together, because the people in the environment, they are familiar with their terrain. Then they can now work under the supervision of the state police in the local government and their levels And the state should give enabling laws for these vigilante people to continue, to tackle this insecurity. State police might come after this community policing experience. And I believe with a very proactive approach, it's going to see the light of the day in the approach.
All right, thank you so much, Major General Cecily Sekaigbe. Thanks for sharing that with us on the News at 10 tonight.